Larry Hanks, Casey Glanders, Communication 101, July the 12th, 2010. Why would anyone spend money to get a tan? I asked my wife this question and she handed me a book. Me. I read through it for this speech. I figured that I couldn't be the only one who didn't get it. The word suntan in the Merriam-Webster dictionary is a browning of the skin from exposure to the sun. A sentence in Encyclopedia Britannica describes a suntan as a skin disorder in which too much melanin makes the skin turn brown. Both explain and change in skin color, but not for reasons for suntanning. After my research, I realized that the history of the suntanning is more than skin deep. The story of a suntan spans centuries and has changed many times. The evolution includes classism, fashion, and medical malpractice. The medical community and the fashion industry merged and created a billion-dollar industry, and at times the tan has been a sign of both poverty and wealth. To put things into perspective, an understanding of man's early relationship with the sun is important. The history of a man's love of the sun goes back to the earliest times. The ancient Greeks and Romans honored the sun as a god, overseeing health and good crops. Suntanning began as a medical aid. According to an article in Beauty Makeup Tips, in ancient times, Helios, the Roman god of sun, reigned. So the term heliotherapy or sun therapy began. Sunbathing became something that the rich were able to do for health. But eventually, things changed, and suntan skin was no longer a status symbol. Throughout history, classism played an important role in the choice to tan or not to tan. In this book, Suntanning in the 20th Century America, Carrie Seagrave gave comments that researcher Marvin Harris, in an article in Natural History titled The Rights of Summer, came to many conclusions about the role of the suntan skin in classes of people. His notes that in early times civilized people believed that only the privileged were able to avoid the heat and the glare of the sun. So pale skin was a sign of wealth. He also says that in the early 1800s, upper class men and women used umbrellas called parasols to avoid the heat of the sun and darkening of the skin. Now here's a picture of a rich person being shielded from the sun in the 1700s. Kings, emperors, popes, and wealthy people used these coverings, but the common people were not allowed to shield themselves. Harris quotes, "Padded skin became a mark of the upper class status." Again, in the early 20th century, scientists and researchers again used the sun as a healer. Along with the new interest in the sun's alleged ability to heal, came a shift in the attitude toward the sun-darkened skin in class. According to Seagrave, medical reports worldwide promoted the sun's healing properties as early as 1890. He also notes that articles encouraging sunbathing for health flooded the public again. In the early 1900s, the sun again accepted as a healer. People began to swarm to the beaches for the healing benefits of the sun. But at the same time, the market was full of ads about getting rid of the tan skin that came from the sun therapy. People wanted the benefits of the sun, but didn't want dark skin. Finally, around 1908, tan skin from sunbathing was starting to be accepted as a fashion statement. Tan, glowing skin was, again, the mark of good health and high fashion. During this time, the Industrial Revolution was in full swing. It was a new day, and all the old ideas about tan skin belonging to poor farmers and lower class was about to change in a big way. With the arrival of the factories, people were coming indoors to make a living. Forced to work long hours in factories, the public had little time to go to the beaches. So once again, there was a change of opinion. Now they believed that rich business people were the only ones able to travel to sunny places. Around the same time, fashion magazines of the 20s and 30s stressed the idea that a tan made a person look healthier and more attractive to the opposite sex. After World War II, the economic climate started to change again. People were making decent wages in factories, and small business began to thrive, allowing for travel and interest in fashion. Fashion accepted tan skin as an accessory, so tanning was becoming very popular around the world. Designers planned their collections around the idea of showing off as much tan skin as possible. From the early 1900s through the 80s, a great tan was important. In the 20s, sun lamps were invented to make tanning available to everyone. As Seagrave said, a new type of window glass was invented that let the UV rays of the sun come through. The cost of the glass was too much, so the idea never really took off. Shortly after that, tanning beds came along. For a small fee, you could tan all year long. The tan was no longer reserved for the rich and was here to stay. History has shown that nothing ever stays the same. As tanning became popular, doctors started warning people about too much sun. With the intention of better health equipment and better education for doctors, the safety of the sun and tanning beds were questioned. Slowly, people started to question the safety of tanning and began paying more attention to the scientific evidence against it. At the same time, the sunscreen was invented. Even as sunscreens came on the market, the number of skin cancers continued to rise, making many believers believe that the most sunscreens are either ineffective or dangerous. By the 1990s, there was enough scientific evidence to give people a reason to consider the danger of overexposure and ultraviolet rays from any form. Seagrave concludes that suntanning had finally become as unpopular as cigarette smoking. The suntan was finally on its way out in both the fashion and health industry. In conclusion, the suntan has been around a long time. The simple act of suntanning has run its course in popularity. Challenged as the method of determining class and embraced by the fashion industry, the suntan survives. Most people don't want a deep, dark tan of the past, but the beaches are still full, and there are countless numbers of sunscreens and tanning lotions on the market. You can count in tanning parlors, you can tan in tanning parlors, beauty salons, and even laundromats. This all goes to show that questions surrounding the fascination with suntanning and its role in fashion and body image still go on, and we have yet to sort them all out. Thank you.